Before we begin, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the hidden stories behind Hollywood's biggest names. For most of his life, Brad Pitt has lived in a spotlight so intense it blurred the line between truth and illusion. The world saw the movie star, the award winner, the golden boy of Hollywood. But behind the perfect camera angles, magazine covers, and carefully crafted public image was a man carrying stories of love, loss, regret, and relationships that quietly shaped who he became. Only recently did Brad begin to open up about the woman who stayed with him in ways the public never truly understood. To understand that confession, you have to go back to the very beginning, before the fame, before the chaos, before his heart learned what heartbreak really meant. Long before he became Brad Pitt, the world knew him as William Bradley Pitt. He was born on December 18, 1963, in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and raised in a strict but loving Christian household. His father worked long hours managing a trucking company, while his mother dedicated her life to helping troubled students as a school counselor. His childhood wasn't filled with fame or luxury. It was quiet, disciplined, and rooted in traditional values. When his family moved to Springfield, Missouri, Brad found comfort in nature and small-town life. He ran through open fields, admired American folklore, and spent hours imagining a bigger world beyond the one he knew. In high school, he wasn't just a handsome face. He worked hard. He joined debate teams, played sports, and explored theater, slowly discovering a spark for performance. But at that time, acting wasn't a real career path in his mind, it was just something that made him feel alive. In 1982, Brad entered the University of Missouri, studying journalism and advertising. From the outside, he was on a safe and respectable path. But inside, something felt incomplete. Movies started to consume him. Not just watching them, but dreaming of being inside them. With only 2 credits left before earning his degree, he made a decision that frightened his family and shocked his friends. He packed his belongings, got into his car, and drove straight to Los Angeles in 1986 with almost nothing in his pocket but a dream. Life in Los Angeles was not glamorous. It was humiliating, exhausting, and brutally lonely. He took whatever job he could, driving limousines, delivering appliances, and even standing on street corners dressed in ridiculous costumes just to survive. At night, he studied acting. Every small role he landed felt like a victory, even if no one remembered his face. He appeared briefly in TV shows like Growing Pains and Dallas, but the success he wanted stayed far away. Then, in 1991, everything changed in seconds. His role in Thelma and Louise lasted only a short time, but the effect was permanent. The world noticed him. Hollywood noticed him. And suddenly, he wasn't a nobody anymore. He was a rising star. But while fame started opening doors, it began to complicate the one thing he never felt prepared for: love. The first woman who truly marked his heart was Juliette Lewis. When they met in 1989 on the set of Too Young to Die, Brad was still figuring out his place in the world. Juliette was young, intense, emotional, and completely fearless. Their connection wasn't calm or gentle. It was explosive, passionate, completely overwhelming. They moved in together, worked together, and lived like nothing else mattered. At the time, Brad was trying to find his identity, and Juliette was trying to survive her own inner battles. They were young and reckless, wrapped up in fame before they understood what it cost. When they later appeared together in California, their real-life intensity was visible on screen. But behind closed doors, things weren't easy. Fame was rising. Pressure was growing. And both of them were carrying wounds they didn't know how to heal. Years later, Brad admitted that he never stopped caring about her. He once said she was one of the greatest loves of his life and that there was real genius inside her. That says a lot. Because when someone loves you before you become famous, before the world changes you, that love touches a place that no one else ever can. Even after they separated, Juliette remained a part of the man he was becoming. Then came Gwyneth Paltrow, the woman he believed he would spend his life with. When they met in 1994 during the filming of Say 7 the connection felt different. It wasn't chaotic like before. It was calm, intelligent, balanced. Gwyneth understood him. She matched his ambition. She felt like home. For the first time, Brad started to imagine marriage, children, stability, a real future. In 1996, standing on stage with a Golden Globe in his hand, he publicly called her his angel and the love of his life. Those weren't scripted words. That was his heart talking. They got engaged, and everyone around them believed it was only a matter of time before they would become husband and wife. Even her father adored Brad and believed he was the perfect man for his daughter. But timing can destroy even the strongest love. Gwyneth was young. She felt overwhelmed. Her career was taking off. Marriage felt too big, too final, too fast. She later admitted she wasn't ready. Brad was ready, completely. When they ended their engagement in 1997, it broke him in a quiet way. No public fight. No betrayal. Just the slow death of something beautiful that wasn't strong enough to survive time. Years later, even after Gatsby, children, marriages, and fame, the respect and tenderness remained. They reconnected as friends. The love didn't vanish. It changed its shape. Then came Jennifer Aniston, the woman the world believed was his soulmate. Their story felt effortless. When they finally started dating in 1998, it felt natural. Comfortable. Warm. She wasn't intimidating. She wasn't dramatic. She was safety, laughter, light, and kindness. When they married in 2000, Hollywood cheered. People didn't see them as celebrities, they saw them as the example of what love should look like. Behind that image, life was complicated. Jennifer was building a film career while filming Friends. Brad was chasing darker, heavier roles. Both wanted a family, just not at the same time. Pressure from the media was non-stop. And when things started to fall apart, the world refused to let them fail quietly. Their separation in 2005 hit like an earthquake. Jennifer handled the pain privately. Even when paparazzi photos of Brad with Angelina surfaced, she didn't lash out. She broke quietly. Over time, they found a different kind of relationship, one built on respect instead of romance. Their public reunions years later showed there was never hatred there, only acceptance. Then came Angelina Jolie, the most intense chapter of his life. Their connection was electric, dangerous, and undeniable. It began during the filming of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, at a time when Brad was already emotionally fractured. Angelina was everything Jennifer wasn't: wild, adventurous, deeply emotional, and driven by purpose. Together, they built a massive family. They adopted children. They traveled the world. They became a symbol of power and beauty. But behind closed doors, things were unraveling. Stress. Addiction. Emotional trauma. Exhaustion. The incident on the private plane in 2016 ended everything. Investigation or not, the emotional damage was permanent. What followed was years of legal battles, custody fights, and public pain. Even when the divorce was finalized, the wounds stayed open. After all of that, after fame, chaos, love, heartbreak, and regret, Brad finally admitted something that surprised those closest to him. Juliet was the love of his youth. Jennifer was the love that felt safe. Angelina was the love that burned like fire. But the one he was never ready to lose was Gwyneth Paltrow. Not because of scandal. Not because of betrayal. But because that love ended quietly, without anyone doing anything wrong. It was the relationship that ended too early, before they had a chance to grow into who they were meant to be. She moved on. Built a life. Created a new world for herself. And Brad respected that. He never tried to rewrite that history. But in his heart, there was a quiet place only she lived in, untouched, unchanged, and unforgettable. Because sometimes the love that stays with you isn't the loudest or the most dramatic. Sometimes it's the one that slipped away before you understood its value. Now we want to hear from you. Which of Brad Pitt's great loves do you think was the hardest for him to let go of? Comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more unseen Hollywood stories.